Just a reminder to vote in this week's Locals poll, where you decide what deck I take to Locals every single week. Without any further ado, I hope you enjoyed the video. What's up YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and for today we've got the profile for the deck that we normally would have brought to Locals this past week, being Jurrac. We ended up having to work this week. The place that I work at is closed on July 4th, so they had me work Thursday instead. I did have enough time to do an online match after work, though, and we actually won against Dragon Link 2-0, so that was really nice. Basically, just being able to drop Meteor on the opponent's turn multiple times is really, really powerful. So here's what it looks like on paper, then we'll get to the card by card. Alright, so starting off with the monsters. First, we've got 2 copies of Jurrac Titano. So basically, this one is only used to fuel the effect of Jurrac Stego. So that way we can just get multiple dinosaurs from our deck. That's basically all it's for. Jurrac Tyrannus is another option that we have for that. If we run out of Titanos to use, we can use Jurrac Tyrannus as an option as well, just to try to get multiple Jurracs out of the deck. Next, 3 copies of Jurrac Guaiba. This one does have an effect when it destroys an opponent's monster by battle. You can special summon a Jurrac monster with 1700 or less attack from your deck, with the caveat that it can't declare an attack this turn. This is usually just to be brought out of the deck with Stego's effect. And speaking of which, 3 copies of Jurrac Stego. So this one, basically you can destroy a card that you control, and if you do, send a dinosaur monster from your deck to the graveyard, basically Titano, and then you can special summon Jurrac monsters from your hand and or deck, who's not named Jurrac Stego, until the total levels equal the sent monster's level, ignoring their summoning conditions. So basically, by sending the level 9 Titano, what I like to do is get 2 level 1s, a level 4, and a level 3. So literally, this effect gets us 4 monsters at once. You are locked into dinosaurs after that, though. And then one of the monsters that we would get off of this is Jurrac Dino. It's a level 3 tuner. That's basically all that it's for. Jurrac Gallium. It's a level 2 tuner. So this one, we can either use Volcano or another card to pull this out of the deck to go into our level 10 synchros. 2 copies of Jurrac Aeolo. This one is basically tribute it to revive a different level 4 lower Jurrac in your graveyard. Jurrac Megalo. If you control a dinosaur monster, you can special summon this from your hand, and then it does have an ignition effect in your on the field, where you can discard 2 cards, with one of them being a Jurrac card, to draw 2. And then if it gets destroyed from something like, oh, I don't know, Stego or Volcano, you can send a Jurrac monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard. So you can actually use this to dump the Jurrac Astero to set up Meteor on your opponent's turn, so that's really nice. And finally, rounding out the monsters is our 1 copy of Miscellaneousaurus. So even though, yes, it is not a Jurrac by name, but it's a fire attribute dinosaur that doesn't already belong to another archetype. So, I mean, you know, it just fits, you know? And Misc is incredibly good. You can discard it as a quick effect during the main phase to make it to where dinosaur monsters you control are unaffected for the rest of the main phase. And then you can banish this card along with any other number of dinos to special summon a monster from your deck whose level is equal to the number of banished monsters. So we can use this to get Gallum from the deck, or, you know, whatever tuner we might need. So that's it for the monsters. Let's go on to the spells. Of course, we got to run 3 Fossil Dig. You can just add any level 6 or lower dinosaur monster from deck to your hand. That is not once per turn. This next card is actually a last-minute change that I made. And so I only have 1 copy of this right now, but I should be getting a second one soon. And that's Jurassic Power. So with this, it actually serves 2 purposes. So the first purpose is just as a card that we don't mind destroying for the effect of Stego, because it destroys a card you control, not a monster. So you can actually destroy this. And then second is because it does have the effect where you can normal summon level 5 or higher dinosaurs without tributing. So if you do draw this, you can just normal summon a 3000 attack monster. So yeah, this is going to be at 2. Its main purpose, though, is to just be destruction fodder for Stego's effect. Next, running 3 copies of Beta Evolution Pill Old Transcendence. So this one is another option. You can just set the card face down and then destroy it with Stego. Or, if you have the appropriate dino monsters in your hand, you can tribute 2 monsters from your hand and or field, including a dinosaur monster, to special summon level 5 or higher dino from your deck or extra deck with equal or higher attack than the total attack of those tributed monsters. So basically, what we would use this for is, like, say in hand, if we just have, you know, like 1 copy of Megalo and then a copy of Gallum, right? It's like, oh, I can't summon them. I've already normal summoned. I've already used Megalo's discard effect, blah, blah, blah. I need to get rid of them. What do? I can use this, tribute both of those, because they have a combined attack of 1700. So I can literally activate this, and then just special summon Jurrac Giganoto from the extra deck for free. So that's really nice. And then, like I said before, you can just set it face down to destroy it with Stego. Next, 3 copies of Upstart Goblin, just to help with consistency. Just to, you know, be able to draw cards. Next, onto the limited cards. 1 Foolish Burial, just for graveyard setup. 1 Reasoning to try to get extra bodies. 1 Call by the Grave to help with hand traps. And 1 Monster Reborn, just for, you know, extension or getting back into the game. We also are running 1 copy of Terraforming along with the 3 copies of Jurrac Volcano. So this one, you can destroy a dino you control to special summon a Jurrac monster from your deck. And then the best part is actually in your opponent's turn. If your opponent special summons a monster and they've activated at least 4 monster effects during that turn, then you can literally just special summon Jurrac Meteor from your extra deck, and it's treated as a synchro summon. So it's literally a second way to get to Meteor during your opponent's turn. And then, if a Jurrac monster you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish a dinosaur from your graveyard instead. So that way you can actually keep the Meteor on field. And finally, just as a backup, 1 copy of Jurrac Impact. If we have a big dinosaur monster, then we can just blow everything up. So that's it for the main deck. Now going on to the extra deck. First, we got 2 copies of Jurrac Velfito. So this one, its attack and defense become equal to the total original attack of the synchro materials used for its synchro summon. This one is just used to deal with face-down defense position monsters, because it just destroys the monster without flipping it face up. Next is probably my favorite synchro in the deck, being 3 copies of Jurrac Giganoto. It just makes all Jurrac monsters you control gain 200 attack for every Jurrac monster in your graveyard. So a lot of times I like to just go for double Giganoto with Astro and Grave, and you know, they just get huge. I mean, it's just big dinosaurs. Like, who doesn't love that, right? Next, 3 copies of Jurrac Astro. So Astro is the new level 10 synchro. And basically, this is why we run Gallum, because if we can get Guaiba, Stego, and Gallum, then we can just hard summon this. Because when it's Synchro Summon, you can set a Jurrac spell or trap from your deck or grave. So that can be either Jurrac Impact or Jurrac Volcano. So discarding them with Megalo is actually fine, because you can get it back from the grave. And then, if your opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, as a quick effect, you can banish 2 dinos from your graveyard to negate the summon and destroy that monster. So, you know, Synchro summons, XZ summons, Link summons, this guy eats those for breakfast. And then, of course, during your opponent's turn, you can banish 2 Jurrac monsters from your graveyard, including him, to special summon Jurrac Meteor from your extra deck and have it treated as a Synchro summon. Notably, this last effect, that special summons Meteor, that's not once per turn. It's literally not once per turn, okay? So, yeah, you can really do some damage to the opponent's board, you know, just by dropping double Meteor. If, like, say, we dump one off of Megalo's destruction effect, then we have a second one on the field, they destroy it, now we got 2 Meteors we can drop on them. And speaking of which, 3 copies of the OG Jurrac Meteor. When he's Synchro Summoned, he destroys everything. And then you can special summon a tuner monster from your graveyard. So he's literally a better Black Rose Dragon, basically. Next, we do have a couple of Xyz monsters in here. One of them being 2 copies of the new Steamed Sabersaurus. So basically, he just takes 2 level 4 monsters. So this can be, you know, like Guaiba, Stego, that kind of thing. You can attach material from this card and destroy a dino monster in your hand or face of field to change the battle position of a monster on the field. So if your opponent's trying to wall up and you're able to go into this guy, you can change that. But his main effect is, or the main reason that I have him in here, is because you can destroy this card during the damage step in which another dinosaur monster battles, to have that dinosaur monster gain 2,000 attack till the end of the battle phase. So that way, you can really help to try to push for damage. I don't think I've ever summoned this in the deck, because usually just the synchros are enough. But in the instances that I've been able to make the Xyz play, I actually choose to run, or to summon this next card, being one of my favorite Xyz monsters in the entire game, Granosaurus Giga Cannon. I love this guy. So basically, when a dinosaur you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you can detach material from this card, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent, and then he gains 1,000 attack. That's not once per turn. Okay? So you can literally do it like twice in one turn. So he can get really, really big. And then if this Xyz summon card is destroyed, you get to target a card on the field, destroy it, and if you do, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. So he's really able to just help with pushing for damage if you're able to do the Xyz plays. Now, I will also mention, because I can already hear someone in the comments being, why aren't you playing Evil Czar Logia and Dolka? Well, that's because Logia and Dolka are dragons. They are actually dragon-type monsters. And Stego, when you use his effect, he actually locks you into dinosaur monsters. It says also for the rest of this turn, you cannot special summon except dinosaur monsters. So Logia and Dolka, for all intents and purposes, just aren't happening. So that's why I opt for those 2 instead. But yeah, really fun deck. I love this deck. I always thought Jurracs were cool, but they were never playable until now. And I am loving it. This is just awesome. Really fun deck. Highly recommend it. It's really fun. So yeah, that's going to be it for the deck profile. Like, subscribe, vote in the logos poll, that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.